Mr. Neil White, founder of the brilliant Backpage Press, author and match-going Falkirk fan. How are you doing?
I'm great, Steve. How are you?
I'm not too bad, not too bad, thank you. I would love to chat to you about Ethan Williams and his loan at Falkirk, but first I think it's important to set some wider context. After back-to-back promotions, you are currently fifth in the SPL, level in points with Rangers, struggling Rangers, yes, but up there, you must be on the whole very happy with how things are going.
Yes, 2 seasons ago, we were in our fifth year in the third tier of Scottish Football, League One. And for anybody not too familiar with the Falkirk story over the ages, since the 1980s, I would say that Falkirk have always been one of those teams that have spells in the Premier Division and then periods of reconciliation in the Championship and then another run at the Premier. So 5 seasons in the largely part-time third tier, a series of managerial failures and recruitment disasters were concluded with these wonderful back-to-back promotion seasons, both title-winning seasons. And to be honest, I think anybody paying attention would have said there was a chance that Falkirk would have perhaps not started this strongly, but soon enough not been automatic relegation candidates. We just have this group of players that have been together for that whole renaissance. And now, yeah, they've started fantastically well. They drew with Rangers at home in a game that saw the Rangers manager sacked. They've won 3 of their last 4 in the league. The one that they lost was away at Celtic, and we just don't budget for those points at the start of the season. So all in all, it's hard to imagine the season starting any better.
And on to Ethan, he scored his first goal at the weekend and got an assist. I think it was against Kilmarnock, which would be 4 goal involvements in 8 appearances overall. How would you summarise his campaign so far?
Almost a pure hockey stick graph. Almost better with every passing game. I would say I was at his debut, which I believe was against St Mirren at home, and he looked nervous coming off the bench in a game that we were struggling in. And since then, the confidence is there. John McGlynn, the manager, has been starting him partly to begin with through necessity, and then laterally because the performances don't merit any other outcome. He was rested or benched to begin with at Celtic Park, which is a sensible move, I would say, for a young man who probably hasn't experienced that kind of an atmosphere too many times in his young career. And yeah, the highlight so far by an absolute mile was Saturday at home to Kilmarnock, and in particular, a first 45 minutes that ended with Falkirk 3-0 up, largely down to your young star, Ethan Williams, who I would suggest had 2 assists in that first half, because I think I know he scored the first goal, running through from a Calvin Miller pass. Uh, Perfectly timed run, was actually VAR'd for about 3 minutes afterwards, but never in doubt. And then I'm almost certain it was his shot that was saved by the goalkeeper for Ross McKeever to rebound for number 2. And it was definitely his pass through to Miller, returning the favour from the first goal that made it 3-0. Now, he didn't last the 90 minutes, but that's because at this point in the season, John McGlynn has got depth in those wide positions, and he's figuring out how he's going to use them. He's got 4 or 5 players there that would be competing for those shirts. Now, if he was playing a game on Saturday for all the marbles that were going to decide the fate of their season in terms of relegation or survival, I can't see a world where he wouldn't start Ethan Williams. That's where his performances have been these last few weeks.
So what does he bring to the team?
Pace and increasingly good close control and end product. So it's not just that Kilmarnock game. He got 2 assists against Hibs in a game in which they came back from 2-0 down to draw 2-2. Um, to understand those wide positions in particular are absolutely vital for the way that Falkirk play and have been since their first promotion season from League One. So for the past 3 seasons, they've played with a series of combinations of wingers and centre forward, and the centre forward has never been 20 goals. I don't think the centre forward's ever been 15 goals in any of these successful seasons. It's always been the wide players that the system is designed to end up with the goal scoring opportunities landing at their feet. It's very, very important. So even in those 2 seasons, the top scorer in the League One season was a winger. Callum Morrison's no longer at the club. And then last season, the top goal scorer for Falkirk was Calvin Miller, who is one of the wingers that one of the forwards that Ethan was playing with at the weekend. So those wide positions, they have to deliver. You know, they have to fit into that system. They have to be running beyond a centre forward that's going to come deep, and then either that centre forward or the number 10 is liable to be releasing the wingers who are supposed to kind of come in from wide positions inside. So it's a very specific job. John McGlynn was, I actually spoke to him. I still do the occasional piece of sports journalism, which was my background before we started Backpage. And I spoke to John in the summer when he had basically done his business in terms of permanent transfers. But he said then that the most important thing was this next phase of loan recruitment. And that would have been possibly the week before Ethan arrived and Cairo Wilson arrived from Swansea City, who plays on the opposite wing to Ethan at the moment.
It's only a small sample size. I think, like I said, only 8 appearances. But has he played his way into supporters' hearts yet? Is he fondly thought of?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think 3 loaners started on Saturday, and there's definitely another one, possibly another two in first team contention. So almost half the team aren't permanent signings, and they're sort of relatively new faces for these fans. And Ethan and definitely a central midfielder from Leicester City called Henry Cartwright. Those two have been immediate successes and are very much beloved from a stadium that's selling out every home game. 7,000. It's not Old Trafford, but considering where we were a couple of years ago, it's a fantastic atmosphere, and he's really connecting with the crowd. Yes.
Amazing. Neil, that's great. Thank you so much for your time and best of luck for the season.
Thanks a lot, Steve.